Warning: Anime Out of Context contains spoilers, explicit language, and general tomfoolery. Neither of our hosts are experts on any topic, and you should not take their opinions as such. Listen at your own discretion, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And I wonder how in the world I'm still doing this shit.
I'm Sean Rollins.
I'm Remington Chase.
Episode 50, my dude.
Yup.
We've been doing this for over a year. We've hit another milestone, episode 50. The next milestone we could possibly hit is 75? 100?
I don't like thinking that far.
Well, you know...
For me, this is a week-by-week commitment.
Which you've done for a whole 50 episodes, Remington.
Oh, God, that's crazy.
I mean, technically 48 if you count the cop-outs that are our review episodes, I suppose, but that's still 50 episodes worth of anime to talk about.
Which is so much.
And there's even more to talk about. So much so that we've gotten several dozen emails on a variety of different anime and controversial anime, as well as anime that I just didn't think existed for a period of my life.
At this point, we have over 100 recommendations at any given time, which is insane, and it makes me very curious what you have decided to do for our grand number 50.
I mean, Remington, it's a very special occasion once you stick with a project to an increment of 50. I mean, we just recently did our New Year's special, or our year anniversary, I should say. It feels like a new year to me. It was about the Chinese New Year, so it works.
Yeah, there you go.
And, you know, it seems a little sudden to do another milestone, but that's kind of how it works. There's only like 54 weeks in a year, right?
Yeah, sure, Sean. That's how math works.
I can't remember how many weeks there are in a year. It's fine. 52?
Yeah, 52, Sean.
I was off by 2. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
That better stay in.
I hope it doesn't. With a grand total of 52 weeks in a year, the fact that we've done 50 episodes in over a year, it's kind of an accomplishment, I'd say. And because of it, I've decided to do something really special for you, Remington.
Not watch anime.
Don't be ridiculous, Remington.
I will always hope.
We did that last week. We can't do that 2 weeks in a row. That'd be ridiculous.
Then it would be just too kind to me, and nobody wants to be too kind to Remington.
It's got to be said, we have received way more death threats than I thought we would.
But also the hashtag Save Remington exists, which is it's a nice show of support for me.
Yeah, I like to think of it as an ironic show of support. It's like, oh, let's save Remington this week with some straight up borderline hentai. That'll be great.
I don't approve of that. If that's how you're using the Save Remington hashtag, you're using it wrong. Please use it sincerely and lovingly. I need it.
Which is hilarious because before we decided to use that for our little Twitter joke in reference to the podcast, as well as the hashtag AnimeConPod, because nobody's used that. Before it was used to talk about saving Remington rifles from the NRA or something in that regard.
Oh, we're political again.
But I felt it was okay, considering it was like 4 years ago when that was a thing. And there hasn't been any reference to it since then, so I think we're good. I feel like if people look up that hashtag, they'll see a bunch of rifle stuff, and then they'll just see our stuff. Big gap in between.
You know, Sean, two things that I think have always gone together so well is the NRA and weebs. It just fits so perfectly.
If you're not careful, they'll come and shoot your waifu.
Okay, so with all that in mind, what the heck are we doing today, Sean?
Well, Remington, a lot of people have been asking for a variety of different shows because they feel like, you know, there's been too much niceness going on around.
I disagree.
Well, in fairness, I've shown you some truly amazing things as of late. And a lot of people were really offended that, you know, I chose something really poor. Or rather, what I should say is people were offended that you hated JoJo.
I mean, if people are offended for me being right, then that is acceptable.
Except you're not really all that right, which is fine. And people have been sending more and more torture-based emails at me. And I thought to myself, you know what? There has been too much niceness around.
No.
And I feel like for episode 50, we should do some kind of heinous crime, some kind of heinous torture. I'm not going to mince words with you, Remington. It's going to be rough.
I hate this. This is some of the most blunt you have ever been, and this is terrifying. All right, so it could be shonen, it could be ecchi, it could have sister fucking, it could use the Sean bullshit rule, it could be any number of these things. There's so many options, and I don't wanna.
You really think I'd blow my bullshit rule after so recently doing 2 very long-winded episodes?
I don't think you have standards, so yes.
I do too have standards, excuse you. But today it's going to be very special, Remington, and I am being a bit blunt because there's not really a good way for me to trick you on this one. And, you know, sometimes being straightforward helps from time to time. You know, it really gets you in the mindset of what you're really in for and what kind of experience you can expect to have from a show.
I hate this so much right now.
Yes, I understand. And this particular torture has been coming for a long time. There was actually several points where I said, don't worry, I won't do this to you anytime soon, or maybe we'll do a show like this, but not this one so soon, or perhaps something along the lines of, I will never show you this show, Remington, never again.
Sean.
What's up, Remington?
Sean, you got here's what's happening, Sean. Here's what's happening. No, I'm not worried. Yeah, what you doing, Sean? You aren't as evil and sadistic as I know you are. Instead, this is all a ruse. You're actually gonna show me something that I'm gonna love, and it's gonna be my new favorite anime, and it's all gonna be dandy. And you're trying to do a double swerve, is what you're trying to do. You're trying to make me into the abyss so you can bring me back up. That's what's happening. It's fine.
This show has caused so much rage throughout the weeb community, myself included, as well as, quite frankly, a lot of our listeners. They hate it when we talk about shows like this in particular.
The options are innumerable.
Especially because there has been a lot of torture thrown your way, Remington, and some of it seemed to be unjustified to some people.
And they're right.
I don't think they're quite right. I think every instance of torture has been fully justified and has had wonderful results. But unfortunately, Remington, we have to do a very special kind of torture for our 50th episode. It's a type of torture that I swore to you I would never, ever do. But, well, I have to lay down my hand, Remington. We are watching a show that is borderline traumatizing. It is borderline offensive. It has some of the worst characters we have ever seen. And it's insanely popular as well, Remington. I don't think I've laid out the groundwork as to what this is going to be, but it is a monster show that does involve little sisters.
Is it one we've already seen, Sean?
Well, Remington, the show that I'm going to show you today is simply titled Himoto Umaru-chan.
Hey!
Part 2. Because you are a wrong motherfucker, and this next series is gonna prove you fucking wrong. Nobody asked for this. I have been upset about this for a fucking year. We only saw 3 episodes. I'm gonna show you enough so that you realize how fucking wrong you are about this show. And I'm gonna kill the meme right here, right now with our 50th episode, you son of a bitch.
Oh, it's so good. We get to watch some top-tier anime.
Top tier my ass. This is the bottom of the garbage pail, and I'm gonna shove it down your throat, and you're gonna realize, oh, this is just mediocre. It's horrible. You're gonna hate everything about it, and I'm gonna love it, because that little orange gremlin piece of shit deserves to die.
Sean, I understand your frustration. I understand how angry you are, but I disagree where you think this is going to go. You see, Sean, in your mind, in part 2, I relinquish my ways. I talk all about how, obviously, it was almost through a nostalgic lens at this point. Haven't seen an episode in a year. Haven't thought about it besides all of the jokes and the references. And I'm going to understand, finally, all of your critiques that it is without substance or without value. But that's not what I see happening, Sean. Instead, what I see happening is that in part 2, you will finally understand exactly why Umaru-chan is number 1!
If it was number 1, you would have put it number 1 in your list, you son of a bitch.
It's not number 1 on my list, but it's number 1 in my heart.
Which, as we all know, is a soulless black pit.
I should have brought my Umaru-chan cowl, which I actually have.
You weeb piece of shit.
It was a gift, and it's one of the best gifts I have ever received.
You are the worst kind of moe trash. You enjoy the depravity that is Umaru-chan. We've had several emails saying, Umaru-chan's kind of horrible. I don't really want to watch this. In fact, we've gotten anti-recommendations for it. But this is like my kind of gift to you in a way that there's been a lot of torture on the show. There's not been a whole lot of torture for myself. There's been maybe 3 episodes total of the 50. So I thought I'd give you a treat, give you a nice little trick there. But at the same time, my goal is to change your views on this heinous act of weebdom. It is the most heinous show we have seen to date, and I want you to understand its horrible attitudes and worldviews and just, God, it's bad.
And Sean, I just want you to accept our Lord and Savior Umaru-chan into your life. Become moe trash. Accept your downfall, delving further and further into this delightful moe abyss, Sean.
I take my moe very seriously, Remington, and unfortunately for you, this is trashy moe, which I used as a specific example for trashy moe. And yet you like it. I don't understand.
See, and jokes aside, I still stand by my arguments that it was very clever, well thought out, adorable, and ridiculous and silly. And I believe that going into this, I am still going to quite enjoy watching Umaru-chan.
I want to crush your hopes and dreams so badly, Remington. I want you to feel the pain that I have felt because I had to rewatch the goddamn series to prepare for this episode, and I watched part of the second season, part of which I could access because it's locked behind a couple different paywalls and it's a pain in the ass, and Yarhar Fiddle DD is not my go-to forte.
I forgot there was a second season.
It's bad.
Oh, that's so good.
It's worse than the first season.
By your standards, I'm excited.
Oh my god. I've shown you so many good things, and yet you will not take my word on this piece of garbage. Why? Why?
Because you are a weeb with bad opinions?
Have you listened to our show before, Remington? Have you? Are you hearing the words that are coming out of your mouth? Have you processed what you're saying to all of these people that listen to us? All 5 of them.
To our listeners, I want you to know I understand that the lovers of Umaru-chan are not the majority, frankly, but I believe that through watching, I'm not only going to convince all of you, but I'm going to convince Sean in his heart of stone to accept the adorable cuteness into his life, and that he will be able to appreciate it to a higher degree. But with that being said, I think it is fair to acknowledge it has been over a year since I have seen Umaru-chan.
And you've only seen 3 episodes, and it's currently a 24-episode series, I believe, including the second season. And you haven't even met all of the main characters yet. You've only met 3.
So I recognize that, despite me bringing it up often, that there isn't much that I know yet besides those 3 episodes. But that goes to show that even the smallest amount of Umaru-chan is enough for love to enter into your heart.
The only thing that's entering my heart is a knife after I kill myself after this episode. Jesus fuck, man, this is rough.
I can't wait.
I can, but I don't have a choice in the matter. Remington, let's go watch some Umaru-chan and get this fucking over with. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back after consuming a grand total of 4 additional episodes of Himoto Umaru-chan, and I have to admit something, guys. In the first half of this podcast, I was very upset. I kind of failed at my job a little bit. I didn't really describe what this show was in detail, so I'll give you a brief summary right now. It's what would happen if Garfield was an anime girl.
I love it.
And that's the show. and it makes me viscerally upset about 80% of the time. But we're not here to talk about me. I don't matter. What really matters is Remington's opinion on this, because my goal was to try and sway you a bit, maybe tilt you toward the side of reason. But no, no, no. We will find out where you truly stand.
And your goal of swaying me, initially, my opinion was that it was a pretty decent show that I didn't adore by any means, but I certainly liked it. And my opinion was swayed. I really like it now.
Fuck! Damn it!
It got much better for me.
What do you mean it got much better? It's the exact same show you saw at the very beginning of our podcast.
Yeah, but now we are exploring it deeper. Now the references make a little bit of sense, which makes it even better. And it just has gotten better.
I don't know what you're talking about, Remington. This show has caused so much controversy in the anime community and has driven many a people mad, including myself. I still occasionally talk to myself, though granted I did that before I watched the show, but that's a different story altogether.
Himoto Umaru-chan is just such a charming, adorable, fun show.
But it's so bad, Remington. It's just cute girls doing cute things.
And that is where you are wrong, Sean, because it's not just cute girls doing cute things. It doesn't just say, okay, here are the pretty girls, ain't that swell. No, it puts genuine and sincere thought into the decisions it makes. It tries to have a varied delivery on its substance. It thinks through the jokes that it has. It puts so much detail, creativity, and thought into what it does, and it does it pretty darn well.
But 60% of the time, if not more, the jokes fall so flat that you can hardly call them jokes.
That is so incorrect. It is easily one of the more comedic shows we have seen, especially all of the subtle gags that it doesn't feel the need to over-explain. I found myself multiple times laughing and chuckling, and that was beyond my Moe response.
I don't know if that's true, Remington. You have shown to be a Moe piece of trash time and time again, and you have shouted against the heinous acts of cute girls doing cute things, and that is this show, though, Remington. It is exactly what I told you it was all the way back in episode 4, right on the tin. It's a show about a quote-unquote cute demonic monster girl doing somewhat cute, horrible, heinous things that make me very angry.
And if you go in and you want to see a trashy Moe anime, then you certainly can very easily find a trashy Moe anime, and if you don't want to look past that, fine. But what Himoto Umaru-chan, I think, does so spectacularly is it serves as a satirical love letter to everyday life and all forms of media. The way that it crafts its references in a very self-aware way without any pretense, the way that it explores these different concepts and ideas, explores all of these different mediums and things that people love, and it does so not in a way that, haha, it's a reference, get it, but rather it explores it in a way that shows you that they care about whatever they are satirizing, making fun of, or delving into.
Yes, because they really cared about Migu Hatsune.
Oh, that was the Hatsune Miku
Yes.
thing.
Literally, they changed one letter in the name.
Which is just, frankly, the tradition for anime.
It is true.
We can go back to Wick Donald's, which
I
is...
prefer Whack Donald's, personally.
Whack Donald's was much better. Yeah, you're right.
But then there was Mackie Donald's, which was a fun one for me. Or my favorite diner chain was Danny's.
Yeah, there you go.
Which hilariously has appeared in about like 8 different anime.
I support that 100%.
Which, that is one of my favorite things. I do love silly renaming conventions, but that's the only compliment I'm giving this show.
But ultimately, those aren't even the best bits. For me, the one thing I think Umaru-chan does better than the vast majority of anime we have seen is it has such amazing reactions. The reactions, the body language, and the facial expressions are top tier.
I don't know what you're talking about. I have never seen a single Umaru-chan reaction image ever used.
And certainly not on our Twitter, used by you! And Twitter is not the only place that you use them, because let's face it, the reactions are great. They are amazing. They're evocative, they're silly, and they're fun. All of the different personality and emotion that they can evoke in these different facial expressions, reactions, body language are phenomenal.
That can't be true, Remington. If it was true, you would have heard, like, I would have been praising the show along with you in the beginning. I would have been shouting my name, saying that, yes, this is Umaru-chan, and yes, I like using its images and reactions. I don't know what you're talking about, Remington.
See, Sean, and indeed you'd be saying that if you were having an honest discussion, but just like you said at the beginning of this part of the episode, you've let your emotions get a little bit in the way. You started with a blind hatred of it, and even when we did our first episode on Umaru-chan, you realized that my arguments were good, you just still didn't want to agree with them. And now that we have revisited it, I am even firmer in the camp that it is a good show and worth watching, which isn't to say that it's everybody's cup of tea, but it is to say that your vehement hatred of it just isn't very well founded, Sean. And I think that you should reflect inward, not for me, not for our listeners, not even for the adorable Moe, but for yourself, Sean, so you can enjoy good things.
I enjoy so many good things, Remington, and what proof do you have that I enjoy this show? What proof?
At multiple times, I caught you chuckling and laughing at it, as well as acknowledging the validity of my arguments. It really seems like, besides your blind frustration, Sean, I think you enjoy Umaru-chan.
Umaru-chan is a piece of trash human being that is just a monstrosity of creation. And how could anybody think that this is a good character, a good show to watch, a good show to be based around this character? How can anybody love this piece of trash that is Umaru-chan?
Well, let me explain, Sean. First of all, Umaru-chan is total trash. She is a trash gremlin to the extreme. But there are two things I want to point out. First of all, at no point is she presented as not a trash gremlin. She knows she's a trash gremlin. Her brother knows. They both know that she's hiding it from the world. The show is very aware that these are bad behaviors that she is taking advantage of, and nowhere does it try to praise that. It just tries to be entertained in the absurdity of it. Second, who can like a trash gremlin? Well, Sean, let's fucking face it, aren't we all goddamn trash gremlins at heart? Because what Umaru-chan is she represents the id of society. She represents that psychological primal urge that we all have when we are being thrown into this world full of media, full of fast food, full of sugary drinks and pop culture, and she represents what happens when you allow yourself to just indulge fully, wholeheartedly, and you don't give a shit. And it's not presented as the ideal, it's just presented as a thing that happens. And it's done in such an over-the-top, ridiculous way to create so many great and memorable moments.
She can't keep getting away with it though, Rem! It's not fair!
And that's what it comes down to, Sean. At the end of the day, I think you are just jealous because you want to be that anime gremlin who can get away with it, but you can't, because it isn't real life, and it does not present itself as real life at any turn, despite having some really nice, casual, human, real moments. The vast majority of the time, it is elevated to 11, and it shows everything in its emotionally authentic, but realistically not, way.
I'm not a trash gremlin.
Now, Sean, at this point, we've just reached denial.
That's the first stage of grief, damn it! Do I look like I'm grieving?
Well, it seems like you're reaching that point pretty quickly.
But Remington, her actions, her activities, the idea of just this monstrosity just living her life at home, being a complete piece of garbage, and then the next day going to school and work and whatever, and just being completely insanely popular and successful, and it's not fair, damn it!
And Sean, I think that your criticisms, they might be mildly valid if Umaru-chan was some sort of morality tale, but let's face it just isn't, Sean. This is Umaru-chan. This isn't Ben Shapiro. These are different entities, Sean. We shouldn't judge it based on the morals of what it's presenting, especially when it's not even advocating for the trash that it's showing. If anything, it's showing how unhealthy and harmful these things can be.
Are you calling me unhealthy and harmful, Remington?
Sean, I'm saying that we all, to a certain extent, are unhealthy and harmful to ourselves. And by watching Umaru-chan, we see what that looks like pumped up to 11 in this almost sandbox-like world where you can maximize your trash behavior and somehow it is okay, and we get to observe this simulation when we watch Umaru-chan.
But Remington, she eats snacks in the bath.
Yes, she does, Sean, which, being your close friend, I know she is not the only one to do that, is she, Sean?
I don't do it every day.
But Umaru-chan has so much merit, and so if you're willing to look past that trashy moe veneer, you can see that it has very unique, fun characters who each have their individual quirks that bring a world to life. It has its human, wholesome moments, even while at the same time exhibiting this wildly unhealthy behavior and relationships. The characters' interactions are wildly charming and humorous, but at the same time, it never feels like it's being insincere, even when it's being over the top. Umaru-chan captures an emotional reality, but of course that's not the reason why we watch it. We watch it mostly because it's fun and it's enjoyable and it is so well thought out and detailed that it's just an enjoyable time.
I'm running out of excuses, Remington.
Sean, I want to extend the olive branch. We've been doing this for 50 episodes, and let's face it, for the vast majority of those, Sean, we have disagreed, but there have been a few moments that we've agreed. There have been a few moments that we've come together, but it's been very rare that we've changed our opinions, and it's happened for both of us a handful of times. But I think for the 50th episode, Sean, that you can look inward on yourself, you can reflect, and you don't need to declare Umaru-chan as the best show in the world, but I think it would be very symbolic if you declared your authentic, real thoughts about Umaru-chan, not the blind hatred, but what you really, truly believe.
I feel like you're putting me on blast this episode, Remington.
I am, Sean. I am very much so.
Well, this has backfired horribly on me. Remington, there's one thing that Umaru-chan will never change for me. One aspect of Umaru that I will never, ever change my thought process on. And you want to know what that aspect is?
What is it?
You fucking comparing everything to Umaru-chan! That's been my biggest problem with the whole thing! When we ended our first episode on it, I was starting to be swayed a little. Yes, that's true. But every other fucking week, Remington, but this is like this and Umaru-chan. And you can't keep doing that. There's so much more out there. We've done 50 episodes of this show, over 40 anime, and you have just been, but it's like Umaru-chan. You can't keep bringing it up, you piece of shit. Broaden your horizons, you piece of trash. Every time you say it, I get angrier and angrier and angrier. And I keep thinking to myself, is he gonna have something new to say? Is he gonna compare something new and nuanced? But no! It's always fucking Umaru-chan. And yes, Umaru-chan is an okay show. And yes, the show makes me laugh from time to time. And yes, I am a piece of shit and want to be Umaru-chan sometimes. But it's not fair. And you are not allowed to keep making these references. It hurts me to the deepest core, Remington, and just because I'm a piece of shit like her doesn't mean that she can keep getting away with it.
Sean, I will freely acknowledge that I have very likely compared things to Maru-chan a few too many times. And it's not that they weren't good comparisons. After all, if I'm comparing something as self-aware or quite cute or moe, if I'm comparing something to be self-aware or quite cute or moe, then a good comparison is in fact Umaru-chan. But at this point, we have seen many different anime. So, although it was one of the originals and thus one of the ones I started comparing different things to, I should probably acknowledge that other comparisons should be made from time to time.
You're still gonna compare shit, aren't you, though?
Well, if it's fitting, Sean!
Everything is fitting to you, damn it! You moe piece of shit.
Maybe what this means, Sean, is that we just need to see more moe bullshit, and then I'll have more to compare the cute things to.
You have just opened the gates of Babylon, you crazy bastard. You know how many moe shows we get recommended to us now?
I want more moe. We have not gotten enough moe. And no, I'm not talking about just cute girls doing cute things. Umaru-chan is different because there's something inhuman about her that really gets my moe response. It needs to be properly moe. Like even Rimuru, the little slime, was almost getting there. It was borderline moe for me. It just needs to go all in. I want more moe, and I think the people want it too.
I've got some bad news for you, Remington. They're gonna send more moe.
Yeah.
But once you open the gates of Babylon, the bone of your sword ain't gonna cut for shit. After all, there's so much moe trash out there we haven't even scratched the surface, and I promise we'll get to it. But the fact that you've just declared that you want more moe means that things are gonna get a lot rougher from here on out. 50 episodes in, and we've only just started, Remington.
If you are listening right now, I want you to send an email to us with your best moe recommendation, the cutest goddamn thing you can find. Send it on over to us at animeoutofcontext@gmail.com. I want to see them. I want the cuteness in my life. And then I won't have to compare so much to Maru-chan because I will have a broader horizon of moe trash.
And as a counterpoint, feel free to send us the trashiest moe you can find, because I need to prove to Remington that moe that is not specifically cute girls doing cute things can be just as trashy. And I will prove this fact to you one way or another, Remington. But until then, Remington, would you like to go watch some fucking Himoto Umaru-chan with me?
Of course I would, Sean.
God damn it. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. So if you guys enjoyed our mad ravings on the subjects of moe, trash, and anime, please leave a review on whatever platform you listen on. And guys, this is where I'm gonna have a call to arms. Most of you listen on Spotify, let's be real. Spotify is probably the easiest way to get a hold of us. But here's the thing, guys. If you really enjoy our show, you can't really leave a review on Spotify. What I would love you guys to do for us would be to hop onto iTunes, log on for just a few seconds, and leave
It's Apple Podcast, you fuck.
What I would like you to do is to hop onto Apple Podcasts and just leave a review for us. Your genuine thoughts. They can be anything. You can think Remington is a piece of trash, but as long as you leave a rating for us, I think that would help us grow both as people and as a podcast. And honestly, for all we care, you could literally just say whatever the heck you want in that review.
It truly would be so valuable to us if you guys did that. So if you have just a couple minutes right now and you're able to just hop over to Apple Podcasts, leave a review, that would make such a huge difference. And if you would like to contact us directly, whether it is for a feedback, comment, question, or a recommendation, then you can either tweet us at AnimeConPod on Twitter, or you can send an email over onto animeoutofcontext@gmail.com.
Once again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and especially in this case, don't fuck your sister.